Yo.
Hey, welcome to the new meta, episode 194.
190. We're almost at 200. What are we going to do? What death nut challenge awaits?
Never. I'm too old for that shit.
What kind of Scoville rating are we going to go this time?
I will sit aside and watch you eat 60 million.
Wow.
I will cheer you on.
What a nice guy.
Mm-hmm. I would do that for you.
There's got to be something
Season
else.
2, episode 13, by the way.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to start putting our brains together and see what we can come up with. 200.
First podcast of 2024 as well.
Yeah. True. How have you been? It's been a little bit since we did a podcast.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah. It was right before the Affliction announcement, I think, right? Pee-wee?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's been a minute.
I think it was like the day before, actually. So what have you been up to? Anything new in the world of Fluff? You've been traveling? You've been gaming?
Of course. Went to Florida to see the fam for Christmas. Okay. And then got back, and a couple days later, I went down to Tulum with my best friend. Spent about like 2.5 weeks for like
Again?
2 years.
Like you go to that place all the time?
Oh, dude. It's like January in Tulum is so much fun. So much fun. There's a festival called Afterlife. This year they had Tomorrowland there as well.
Nice.
And, yeah, it's nutty. It's so fun. But it's wild. It's a wild time.
Okay. All right.
What about you? What'd you do?
For New Year, I mean, nothing. I haven't traveled. I haven't really gone anywhere. Just, at home, same old. I did make a pretty big purchase recently.
Oh?
I decided, so this kind of all started back in BlizzCon. So in BlizzCon, if you remember, we were cruising around with one of our friends, and he had a Tesla.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is nice, right? But I started looking into it a little bit.
That Tesla went wicked hot.
Yeah, wicked hot. So I'm like, man, well, let me see. Like, I want a faster one. Like, what do they make? Like, what's the fastest Tesla they make, right? So I started looking into it. And I didn't realize at the time. I realized this at the time, but they make the fastest production car ever produced in the world. It's like pretty ridiculous. And I'm like, okay, let's go check it out. So, anyways, long story short, I ended up selling my Vet. I was like, this car's pretty dope. I was like, but I don't have room. I can't. My wife won't give up her garage spot, so I had to sell the Vet because I wasn't gonna park a brand new,
especially not in St. Louis,
expensive car outside. I don't know what you're talking about. My neighborhood's nice. So anyway, I sold the Vet, and then I bought the Tesla Model S Plaid. So it's I'm
gonna Google this because I have no idea about cars.
Yeah, it's 1,020 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 1.99 seconds, 9-second quarter mile. It's a ridiculous car.
Hold this up so people can see it.
Pretty cool.
Is it what color did you get?
I got white.
White.
But
this guy. This is it?
Yeah, that looks pretty similar.
Right.
Yeah.
It kind of looks basic. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It doesn't. It is a 4-door sedan. It doesn't look super crazy sporty.
It kind of looks like my FRS.
But it's just
fast.
stupid fast.
Right.
But that's not what sold it. It wasn't the speed that sold it to me. So what got me is I went to Tesla.
It kind of sounds like.
That's what got me looking,
okay.
Right? That's what got me looking. Right. But then I went down to the Tesla dealership, and they were like, "How about we just give you one for the weekend?" And I was like, "Okay." So they gave me a Model S to cruise around all weekend, and so I had it for 3 days. And at the end of the 3 days, of course they give you the nice juiced up every feature model, right?
Yeah.
So it had the full self-driving.
Yeah.
So I literally got in this thing in my driveway, and I put in an address to a restaurant that was 25 minutes away through highway and through like subdivisions, like actual like roads, busy streets. And I said, "Take me there, bitch." And I just sat back.
Wow.
And the car drove the whole thing. It was crazy. It was super nerve-wracking at first, but by the end of the weekend, I was like, okay, I see how this works. It was actually pretty damn crazy.
Huh.
Like it's a thing, man. Still got some bugs to work out. It wasn't flawless, but it was like 10 years from now, we're not going to drive our own cars. Like it's pretty insane.
When Tesla motorcycle win?
I don't know.
Self-driving motorcycles, that'd be the worst.
Electric motorcycle would be amazing, dude.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's been a trip down money lane though, buying the car, and then I had of course the whole reason to buy it is I never have to go to the gas station. I don't drive far, so if your regular commute's not more than like 300 miles, you're chilling because you can charge your car up every night at the house. You just get in it and it's full. But I had to get chargers installed in the garage, which is I didn't have 240 ran in my garage, so then I have to get that done. So I got electricians coming out and like trenching lines in my garage, and it's gonna cost a little bit, but it'll be cool. So yeah, that's my big
millionaire streamer. Well, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I stopped streaming. That's why I can afford the
millionaire
car.
non-streamer. Wow.
Yeah. How did you afford that fee? Oh, I got a real job and stopped streaming.
Wow. Well, congrats.
Yeah, cool. It's a fun car. Fun things. So it's on order. I don't have it yet.
You have any vacations you could probably take with that? Anyways. Cool.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
We'll have to race. Yeah, my FRS. It's so quick. That 0 to 30 times pretty good.
0 to 1. I got a pretty good 0 to 1 speed.
Yeah, I think I got you there.
Yeah. If let's jump into gaming. There's been a little bit of gaming news happen.
Yes.
What was our poll from last time? It's been too long.
Exactly. That is why we're doing it today, because there's a lot of things coming. But yeah, new meta podcast question from last podcast, which was back in December 4th. That's exactly when it was.
Okay.
How hype are you for the upcoming PoE Affliction League? Option 1, oh my god, poggers. Option 2, should be fun. Option 3, missed the mark for me. And option 4, dog shit is.
Ooh.
Pretty low turnout for our podcast votes. But number 1, oh my god, poggers, 38.6% of the vote. Coming in rank 2, should be fun, 33.3%. Number 3 is dog shit is at almost 20%. And then missed the mark for me is only 8%. Mm-hmm.
I think the PoE polls typically do worse. So
yeah,
that's normal.
This is mostly.
So what did you think of the PoE announcement? It has launched, right?
Yep.
It did go live, and did you play? What did you think?
I played a lot.
Okay.
Played a lot. I love.
Does that mean you liked it?
Yes. I don't. Okay. The league mechanic itself, like going in there and getting the wisps, it's not super duper fun. But what it does to the map, is so intense, and like builds are powerful. So it honestly feels like, you didn't play Delirium, but like for people in chat, it kind of feels like you have like 40 to 60% Delirium on a map, just from getting like a good amount of wisps, but the like loot goes way up. It's like arch nemesis league loot. It's nutty. And so people are doing like, you can do like extra enemy proj on an abyss map, and like the pylon, the Stygian spires, the spawns like insane amounts of bad guys, because each projectile is like an additional elite basically. So you just like fight waves and waves and waves of elite. And as long as you don't kill the pylon, you just like sit there and you farm, like you get like 20 divines in a map. It's actually insane.
And it just keeps dropping loot until you kill the pylon?
Pretty much. I haven't been doing that because I think that kind of cheeses the game, but it's still like really, really good loot. It's really, really like high pace. So I wonder, like next league, I feel like it always like when a good league happens in PoE and then the next league happens, it's always like, oh,
yeah,
like,
that's the thing. They got to rein it back
yeah,
in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't keep adding like that and just have it get out of control. That's how D3 got in the state it was in for a long time.
But I played a lot. I played pretty much up until the day I left for Christmas. I played like, I want to say at least 3 weeks, and I played it here and there. I played Elemental Venom Guy, I think I killed one Uber maybe, but I'm not a big like Uber killing guy because the loot doesn't seem to be that consistent. But killed all the other bosses with Venom Guy. So I loved it. 10 out of 10.
Nice. Good. It's awesome.
And then the poll, obviously, because that's why we're doing this pod. New Meta Podcast question of the week. What are your initial thoughts on Diablo 4 Season 3, Season of the Construct? Option 1, oh my god, poggers. Option 2, good, but I want them more. Option 3, meh. And option 4, of course, dog shit is. Go ahead and tweet that out. And
can't wait to see the results of that, big boy.
What's chat for you guys. And
Yes. So let's jump into it before we. Well, I guess we can start with the D4 stuff. Let's jump into it.
So on January 16th, they posted basically the Season of the Construct announcement. Trying to like even know where to begin here. So obviously, like any new season, you get a new quest line. The vampire powers we know are going away. Sad egg. And basically the power creep from this season. So we lose the vampiric powers, obviously, but this power creep from this season, we get a follower. That's basically a Herald of Agony from Path of Exile.
Yeah. It's Zoltan cool themed.
Yeah.
If you didn't
mechanical
already know that
style.
Yeah, so,
but inside of this pet, there's like one of, I want to say like 12 abilities. What'd they say here?
Didn't it show? Isn't every rune slot on that picture thing? Like the left side was.
Yeah, but like the total amount to choose from. I thought they said it.
Yeah, I think they did too. I don't remember if it was in the video or in the patch notes, but I definitely remember seeing it too.
Oh yeah, 12 governing stones and 27 tuning stones.
Yeah.
And I actually have this post from Max Roll. That has a pretty good comparison list. Maybe we should wait till the end on this and just go through the announcement first. But yeah, so we get a follower, and we'll dive into exactly what that follower does in a minute. And so there's a new like dungeon system. It's called the Vault, and it's sort of like God, what's that league called? And I know you didn't play it, but just for the people that do, I have no idea. The Vault one from fucking PoE.
I remember.
Sanctum.
I remember the name of it.
But yeah, you go in and basically from like farming so there's also a new overworld activity. I forget what that's called. I think they say it. Tremors. So there's tremors in the overworld. So like the green Helltide goes away, the vampires go away, and we get this new tremor thing. And so as you farm the tremors, you get pearls. And when you start a vault, you can invest these pearls into giving yourself like basically more, I want to call it like energy shield, if you will. And then every time you get hit by a trap, that energy shield depletes.
Yep, it's like a buff on you, and it takes a stack of the buff away at the end, which lets you open the chest. Yeah, it's we'll keep going through the announcement. I feel like the vault. So that vault with the traps reminded me, or it made me kind of think that they were taking inspiration from PoE's. When you get your Ascendancy skill points, the Labyrinth
lab.
What was it called? Lab. Yeah. It feels like it's like it got a lot of inspiration from a lab. That's what I thought of when I saw it. I was like, oh, this is a lab from PoE. I don't know how I feel about that yet. Labs weren't the most fun thing in PoE to me personally. What's your thought on labs in PoE?
I don't think labs are fun, but to me, this is Sanctum. This is like it is comparable to lab, but it's basically copy paste of Forbidden Sanctum League, which is kind of a lab, but it is very trap intensive. If you've got this ward on you that if you get hit, it depletes from that. So it's very much like that Forbidden Sanctum League. I've played Forbidden Sanctum, and I know a lot of people do like Forbidden. I think Forbidden Sanctum was a popular league, a very positively received league. I didn't personally enjoy it that much. I'm sitting on like 20 tomes right now in my current league because I just don't want to run it. I don't know. The one thing that sort of like I have a big question mark around is like I want the like high risk, high reward. So in Forbidden Sanctum, it's like there's high risk, high reward. You can like make the play super difficult And if you felt like you were like a god and you could still get through it and the rewards would be really, really good. It sounds like this is not necessarily that. Like you're going to be able to basically invest as many pearls as you want to like sort of give yourself a buffer. So like if you think you're bad, you can like drop 20 pearls and then still get the like, and that's the thing. At the end, there's like a chest that if you have a certain amount of power left, you can open it.
It lets you open it. And I wonder if there will be multiple chests, right? So if they only showed one, but maybe there's 2 or 3 or 4. So you can be lucrative if you invest a lot and don't get hit.
Right.
I don't think that'll be the case, but I don't know. Part of me is like, okay, they're trying to put in an end game system where there's a reason to perform well in it. So if you're going fast, you might get hit by traps. So I guess there's a skill cap. If you're a good player, can avoid traps and do it quickly with low pearls, you can be very efficient and farm a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of the casuals out there that go in have a buffer so they can still do the content if they want. I like that. I just don't necessarily think that traps are a super engaging mechanic. You're not killing a thing. You're just, oh, don't stand here, or I can't stand there, or time this walk right. I don't know. We'll see how it plays. Out of the gate, when I saw it, I was like, because I do remember doing labs, and I didn't play this season like you said in PoE, but I do remember doing labs in PoE and thinking that PoE labs were grueling. As a new PoE player, the first time you go through a lab, you're kind of like, oh shit, I don't want to die.
And pull up the thing here, but continue.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how it ends up playing out. They do have new creature types in there. I don't know if it's just going to be copy pasted abilities, or if they're going to have new unique play styles or things to do. You can see like the traps don't look very difficult in this that you have up. So if there's no really difficult scaling, like they're pretty telegraphed, the traps.
Mm-hmm. The thing that arrows like comes into play is like the dealing with the minions, I guess, is like the biggest. Dealing with minions and the traps at the same time, I think, will be the challenge. If you're just walking through and it's just traps, like this could actually be somewhat challenging. The rotating towers. This guy wants to get the loot. He just got hit by one of them at least. So yeah.
If there's a lot of enemies coming at you, then I can see that being hard, and especially if it scales up super high as well. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how fun it is. If it's really intense and really grueling, I don't know that the replayability will be very high. And it also depends on the rate that the pearls drop too, or whatever they're calling the currency to give you the buff. It seemed like you had to find the tower in the dungeon to then sacrifice the pearls to get the buff. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, the tower's at the start. I think it's always.
Is it? Okay, cool. I for some reason I was thinking you had to kind of find it too, but if you don't, that's good. But yeah, I don't know. It depends on how much grinding we have to do to get the currency to run the thing. So
yeah. My concern is that it's finite. So like, season 2, I thought that the green Helltide was fun. I think that like killing the vampires was like a great way to level. It was different. You'd get all those things of blood, and then you could spawn like the juicy vampires, and that was a great way of getting loot. I thought it was like overall a win, but it was finite. So like as soon as you unlocked all your vampiric powers and got to the rank 3, like there's really no reason to do the vampiric zone other than like it was good for bounties. It's good for whispers, and whispers is good because you want Barshan stuff. So I hope that there's more. Like my worry is that you get construct all the way leveled, and once it gets all the way leveled, there's really no reason to go into the vault anymore. Because the vault, there's the other thing too, is like the vault, even these like greater chests, they don't drop the Uber uniques. Uber uniques still comes from Duriel.
Okay.
Which sucks.
That does suck. Yeah. That is. I don't know. My opinion, they should always put the in-game loot in the new in-game system for this season. Like if you want to play the new activity, unless your activity is trash, you're going to want to play the activity. So you want the best items to come from that because that's what you want to do. And especially with it seems like they're rolling these end-game systems away every season too. They're not becoming permanent features. So I would definitely want to put the loot in there. And maybe they can reconsider that.
That's another thing too, is it to me, again, I know Blizzard they always use that term like, oh, we don't want to bloat the game. But to me, like they should just nerf vampiric powers, like really kind of into the ground. But it's still like this neat, because again, the vampiric farming is finite. So it'd be a nice little thing, like, okay, the season started, and like, I got to go farm up tremors and vaults so I get my construct up. Ooh, and then I got to make sure I get my vampiric powers going, and just have like all these little things. Does it become a chore
at that point? Like, how many seasons do you leave it in?
Yeah, until you have better content, right?
Yeah, I'm with you, right? So, and it's okay to rotate that stuff out. I'm with you. I agree. They can nerf it into the ground to balance it, right? Leave it in for a couple seasons and then rotate it out. And maybe it's gone for a year or two. And then you throw it back in when you rework it. Yeah, I don't know, So
I hope, to me, it kind of seems like that's what they're maybe going for with the constructs, because it is kind of like a follower. So I could definitely see a world where these constructs become perma.
I hope not, man. Like, I am not a fan of pets.
I
don't want dude, listen. So I try to be positive because I haven't played the season, but when I look at it, as soon as I saw the pet, I literally was like, oh, like that was the feeling, that was the sound I made. I was like, oh, because I don't want to have to worry about my pet debuffing the enemies or buffing me or healing me or stun locking them or whatever the hell the pet's got to do. I don't want to have to rely on their in-game logic to do what I need it to do. Just give me those powers. Like, why does my pet have to have the powers? Is because it looks cool? I don't know. But I am not a fan of pets. We went through this in Diablo 3. Like, let's not have to relearn the lessons we learned in D3. Followers are bad. Pets are bad. You want to have pets pick up gold for me from D3? Like, okay, I would do that. But that's about the extent of it.
I think that, like, obviously, one, I'm not a fan of pets either. That's which is weird, because I'm a necro main, but
unless you're a pet build. Pet builds are different. I'm not lumping that in the same as a follower. So
and that's what I'm
clarification.
Exactly where I was going with that. It's like, well, we already have pet builds. Like, we have, druids can have pets. Necro can obviously have a ton of pets. Granted, the pets aren't in a good state right now, but it seems like in season 4 they aim to sort of fix that. But like, that's an option for people that want to do it. Like, don't force everyone to have a pet. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be just alone, me and my necro. I don't have any fucking pets.
Right.
I don't want to herald
I'm an introvert, man. I don't want friends.
Exactly. I don't play SSF, and SSF means no pets either.
Yeah, no new friends.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So like I said, we'll see how it plays. It's the thing where you're really just getting a mini skill talent gem tree. Like, I don't really know how it's going to play yet because I didn't get to fiddle with it, but it seems like you're getting these runes or these items you're slotting in to pick the powers.
We'll dive into that. We're going to deep dive into that.
So it's like maybe they could find a way to get some good positive feedback from this system and just pull it from the pets and throw it in the game somehow in the future. So,
what else did they announce here on the initial announcements?
Quality of life stuff, bro. Go back up. Hold on. That's the huge one. No, right there. So this is huge to me. This actually was the most interesting thing of the entire reveal to me, was this WSAD movement.
Okay.
So this is huge, and if you guys aren't really sure what that means, think about World of Warcraft movement. Think about any first-person shooter movement, right? Even though it's going to relate more to WoW, but you're able to control your character using WSAD instead of mouse clicks, which is crazy control over your character that you didn't have before. I don't know how it's going to feel. I hope it's implemented well, but this can really change your micro of your character. I feel for somebody like me that's played WoW for 30 years, like, I'm excited for this. Okay. And I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's a good thing. I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, this is cool. And then I've seen a lot of people say that this is stupid. Why is it in the game? And I think that my personal opinion on this is mouse click movement was kind of developed in D1 and back in, prehistoric times. And I felt like it was kind of a staple for ARPGs just because it just became part of that classic defining control. But I think it's 2024, man. Let's push the genre forward. And I think this is something that pushes the genre forward to give you more control of your character is a good thing. That allows them to put more difficult mechanics in the game, and with the expectation that the player can dodge and move out of the way. So I don't know, man. I'm excited for it.
I have a couple of thoughts on this. So one, the timing of it is just sort of funny because, you know, PoE, December 4th or whatever, did announce that PoE 2 is going to have WASD movement. And so then Diablo follows suit. But two, I don't have a problem with it. I think that it's fine. I personally prefer how it is right now because, like, I have just my left hand sucks. And so my fear is that, like, this is just a better, like, this is a more efficient, more effective way of playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that would suck for me because, like,
is your left hand that bad?
It's
you
pretty
can't
bad.
FPS anymore?
The problem is any sort of thing I have to do with my pinky is when my hand starts to, like, tremor. And that's what really sucks.
Well, you could get around that. So WSAD you could use with your middle finger, your pointer and ring finger, right?
Mm-hmm.
The pinky would just be like shift modifier or alt control, right? So you can get around that. You can just make binds on your mouse, binds on other keys. So it does suck, no doubt, but it's not game changing.
But I hope that, like, this is just another way to play it. I hope that this isn't like, oh, well,
yeah, man. I think it's going to be better. It's just like, to me, it's kind of like people that don't use force move, right? Yeah. This is like the next evolution of force move. It's like, if you're not using force move, and there's a lot of people out there that don't use force move, you don't realize what you're missing until you start using it. And then some people will turn it on and be like, oh, this sucks. Well, yeah, you play with it for one day, play with it for 1 hour, right? If somebody like me that's got 10,000 hours with force move, there's no way. Like, that's the first thing I do when I go into a game is I'm like, where's my force move keybind? Like, I have to turn that on because it's impossible to play without it. Yeah. So, and I think this will just be the next evolution. I'm really excited. I was excited when PoE 2 announced that they were going to have it. I'm really shocked that Diablo 4 put it in. I actually remember asking way back if they were going to ever implement it. So I'm excited. I'm excited it's in there. And I think this is a real subtle thing that's going to kind of get glossed over a lot with the patch notes and the buffs and the changes. But I think this is going to be the future of ARPGs. I think that if PoE 2 and Diablo 4 both have WSAD movement, I think every ARPG going forward will have it. This is going to change the way that we play the games forever. It won't be click anymore, click to move. I mean, you can still do it if you want, but the option will be there. So I'm excited, man. I really am.
Good. The other big announcement here in the quality of life is Hell Tides endure. So instead of being once every 2.5, whatever they are now,
there's only 5 minutes of downtime. Yeah,
5 minutes of downtime. However, this is a silent nerf to Hell Tides, in some regard, because sometimes when you're in a Hell Tide, you can get like double chests because the reset of the special chests comes on the hour, and sometimes the way the Hell Tide starts is like it can like start on like the half hour, and so halfway through the Hell Tide you can get a whole nother series of chests, and that basically disappears with this. But you know, the upside being like, okay, well, I'll just farm the first 30 minutes Hell Tide.
It does suck needing stuff from Hell Tide mats or whatever, and it's not up.
Right.
Like you're just like, okay, well, because you just can't go do it. That's a problem that I think ARPGs don't have, that most MMOs or other games do have, is like, I want to do this thing, but I can't. I'm time gated. I'm locked out. I have to wait. ARPGs typically don't have that. It's like, you want to do a thing, go do the thing, you know? So I'm excited to see that go away, because I know there were definitely times where I wanted to go do Hell Tide, and I'm like, well, it's not up. So let's find something else.
Yeah,
or if it was up, you're like, I have to do this because it's not going to be up again for 2 hours.
And
or whatever,
I don't necessarily mind that feeling. I'm kind of on the fact, because like if we had just more stuff to do, I would prefer Hell Tide to stay the way it was. But the fact that like, okay, it's either Hell Tide, Whispers, or Nightmare Dungeons is kind of the current, and that's it. I don't mind it being up all the time, but yeah, I think that like the perfect system is something like Path of Exile, where like you can go do anything at any point, but like there's efficiency to doing certain things at certain times. So like, for example, I play SSF and now have 50 expedition scarabs. Okay, well, I'll respec my Atlas skill tree into like full expedition, and I run a whole bunch of expedition, and I run out of scarabs, and it's like, okay, well, now I'll shift to something else. So like, but I could do expedition at any time that I wanted to, but I could do it more efficiently if I had enough of X currency stacked up or whatever. So I think that's like sort of the perfect way. But as you mentioned just a bit earlier, we get an extra stash tab as well. It seems weird they keep adding these extra stash tabs without fixing the problem of what's going on with stash tabs.
I don't know if they found ways to like more efficiently handle item management in the game engine to allow the extras.
Yeah.
Because like, why couldn't they have just given? How many did they give us now? 2 or 3, 4? I don't remember. I don't even know at this point.
This is number 6. Like overall,
since everybody was like, we need more stash.
Be the third, I think.
The third, I think. Yeah, I think that sounds right. So it's like, why didn't they just give us 3 out of the gate then? If they could have done it the whole time, you know?
I don't know.
So I don't know. It's crazy to me that the same issue that was in D3 is the problem in D4 too. It's like you already knew this.
No, copy paste code. Would you expect?
Like, why are we not learning our lessons from D3 again with the pets and followers from this season too? Like, we'll see. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, we got one though. So
yeah. Quality of life update for respecking, so you can like, instead of sort of right clicking to unspec and then shift or clicking into something else, you get like a preview of, so you get this respec mode. So
yeah, that's really cool.
That's nice.
I like that actually. Yeah. WoW recently did something in their talent tree thing, which I think is really cool, and it would be awesome to see this eventually make its way into D4 with the last expansion, and they've been iterating on this in every major patch. But you can, let's say you make a build, right, and you make a video YouTube guide. In that guide, you can link code, like it's just string of numbers that they can literally go in game and paste, and it imports your build into the game. Like, they don't have to sit there and look and click, like look at your video and then try to click the dots. They just copy paste and it puts it in there. And then they save it in like an armory type system that's always available. You can have 5 per spec. And so you can save, like I can make it like Fluff, Necro, Bone Lance or whatever, right? And then I could do Fluff, Scythe build or whatever. And you can name them and copy paste them in, share them with your buddies. But the cool thing is, let's say that at the top of the tree, you wanted to change a talent, you can click it off. It turns everything below it red to say, hey, you just broke the build because you can't do that. But they still let you shift the points around to fix it. It doesn't just like say, no, you can't do that. It says, okay, it's broken, but you need to fix it before you can apply it. So it'd be cool to see some of those changes come into D4. Specifically, I think the copy paste talent imports would be kind of nice. So
that's one of the nice things about last Epoch that I've seen so far, is that, to say you want to play someone's build, you can copy paste their loot filter, and so you only find or you only see items that's cool, that particular person that's like good at the game has decided that this is what you should see.
You need for the build. Yeah, that's cool. That is really cool.
Obviously there's a battle pass coming with the new season. I will say, I think that this is the new armor set, and I think it looks just like the Father's Judgment. So I think that the new seasonal armor kind of is super matte. I was like really disappointed by that.
I haven't personally thought any of the armor in D4 has been
season 1
oh my
good. Honestly, I think season 2 is okay. It's not bad. I use it on my blood specs because it's got like red themes to it. But yeah, that's coming. They're also redoing the seasonal blessings. They're putting in something that gives more like construct juice, and
I must have whizzed over that. I didn't read that part. That's interesting.
I can't remember where that is. Oh yeah, so here the urn, a boost to shrine duration, and a chance to receive additional tuning stone from Wardwoven chest. It's the Wardwoven chest is just at the end of the vault. And Earn It Whispers, chance to receive a greater collection from Whisperward. So every single time you turn in a bounty, you get a better chance for that special chest. which is, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they say like there's better stuff coming in the shop, and then this armor set looks pretty good. I'm assuming this is what the actual season 3 armor was going to be, and then they're like, well, we should make people pay for that.
It. Yeah. That's so toxic, man. Yeah, I was kind of I haven't seen a set in D4 that I was like, that is so amazing. I'm gonna buy this and it's gonna be my set forever.
Yeah.
And like I have transmogs in World of Warcraft. I have gear sets in other games that when you see it, you're just like, that's it. Like I'm rocking this forever, And I haven't seen that in D4. That looks pretty cool. Do they have any other pictures than just that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to see what that will actually end up looking like, but it looks pretty cool there.
But yeah, that's kind of the overall.
What about the horse? Go back to the horse real quick. I remember looking at it and not thinking it was that cool, but let me see it again.
Yeah, the horse is, it looks like stuff that already exists. So.
Yeah, it's kind of meh. So,
I want to go over the live stream. Was there anything in this? We're gonna dive into the construct or the. So one, they said the gauntlets. It's not ready, or they didn't say it's not ready, but they're like, oh, we're gonna wait a few weeks, and I already know. One, it's not ready, but two, they don't have a fix for snapshotting, and that's exactly why leaderboards aren't coming the first week of the season.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
I mean, they didn't sound that interesting to me, anyways. Did they sound that interesting to you?
The concept on paper, again, I want to keep an open mind, but we talked about this.
I'm completely same.
Where on paper, it's the challenge rift where you get to bring in your own character, and it doesn't, but it's static, and so that just seems. Was challenge was static, wasn't it? Yeah. So it is a challenge rift.
Challenge rift is static. Yeah, it's a challenge. It's literally a challenge rift. You just bring your tune in.
Yeah.
And they pulled the new leaderboards from D3 where you can filter by class. Filter by spec, maybe? I think they said spec. I can't remember now.
No spec.
No spec? Okay, so you can filter by class. You can filter by group size. It's literally D3 filter. So it's going to be like 4-player, 3-player, 2-player, solo. Then
original
SSF filter, right? Maybe SSF filter. That'd be cool if they don't have it. Never mind. Yeah. Just kidding. And then they also had the hardcore. So
I think there's original excitement for me personally. I think this is maybe one of the cool things about this season. So season 2, when I started the season, when everyone started the season, what we had in mind was, okay, Abattoir is coming. And so we need to make our characters as basically we got to hit armor cap. We got to have so many forms of mitigation. We got to make these characters as tanky as they could possibly be to get ready for this new content that's coming. And I like that. You sort of had a goal in mind. And I think this season is kind of the same, but it's going to be different because we already know that the leaderboard will be kind of the equivalent of a Nightmare level 70. So that's kind of like speed farm tier. So basically, we want to spec our character in such a way that there's kind of just enough mitigation to just survive, but we still probably want to be pretty glass cannon. Yeah. And maybe we take all 4 damage specs on the chest and we don't even have mitigation. And, just we're speccing our character way differently than we were for Abattoir. So I think that's nice because they're sort of guiding us into a gearing direction that's totally different than last season, which is cool. And then in season 4, we're getting the sort of the loot and stat rework. And so I think it's nice at the end of the day, even though it's kind of fake content, but
this leaderboard stuff it's not a seasonal thing, is it? Is this a permanent feature?
It's forever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But it's nice that it's different than last season, and the next season will be totally different again because we're in the stat rework.
It's cool. My thing is, I don't think it appeals to me to what I would be hyped to get into, but I'm glad it's there. I think there will be a audience. There will be a group of people that will just smash the leaderboard every week. That's the only reason they play the game, is to just smash leaderboard, find the most efficient routes through, and this and that. And that's cool. I'm glad it's there for them.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'll personally get into it in its current state or the form, but I'm not knocking it though. I don't want to knock it because I do think it does have an audience. So we'll see. I mean, numbers will tell us. So
I think one is that we know that the rewards aren't very good. So I can't see a world where I would want to spend, more than like a night, sort of trying to get my best time.
Or even an hour. It's like,
but for me, there is excitement for me because it's a new thing, and even I was excited when Diablo Immortal had leaderboards, and I grinded the shit out of that the first time around, and competed for like worldwide rank 1 and beta. I could see the very same situation happening here. Like that first week that this leaderboard comes up, I think will be pretty exciting. And then once we sort of like, okay, we did it that first week, and then we get the static map for week 2. It's like, ugh, do I really want to go in there and like kind of waste all my time?
I think the frequency of it kind of makes it not as important as well. If it like, let's say, here's an example. So there's a game that I used to play called The Crew, and if you're familiar with it, it's a racing game. It's like an MMO racing game. It's a really interesting concept. Check it out if you're into race games. It's actually pretty good. So they do a thing what they call the summit. The summit's the same kind of as this Gauntlet, except for it's on a monthly cadence. So once a month, the summit comes up, and the summit has multiple events. We'll say there's like 6 events, and they cover the game modes in it, right? And so you compete against the NPCs. That's not against real players. You race against NPC cars, but your times are calculated and ranked, and you get a score based on the time. So let's say they have a race. It's a 4-lap race, and I do it in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. That gives me a score, like 1,000 points. And then somebody else does it in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. They get 1,200 points, right? So after all your events add up, you get a grand total score, and that score is ranked on a leaderboard across all players of the game. You get rewards based on that. And the rewards were phenomenal. They were like limited edition cars that you couldn't get anywhere else, or limited edition pieces, things like that. So it was actually very, very beneficial to do it. So to get in the top reward, you had to be in a percentage, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was top 1,000 in the platform, right? I remember spending nights grinding to get top 1,000 because there were so many people playing the game. There's like 10 million people trying in the game. To get top 1,000 felt like a super good achievement, to be honest. But I remember grinding these races for like 5 extra points to keep my position, and then I went to bed that night at like rank 700. And I'm like, okay, cool, man. I'm going to wake up in the morning and see if I got it. And I woke up and I was like 970 or some shit. And I got the rewards, and I was like, cool. So the reward was this limited car. It was called a Magma. It was a Bugatti Chiron Magma edition. And when I drove around in the car, people would be like, oh shit, you got the Magma edition. That's dope. That's sick. Because there's only 1,000 people that have that car. And it was actually a juice car. So I think there are ways, like the Gauntlet seems very similar to that in concept. The rewards don't seem good, right? Yeah. And the frequency seems too much for me, because if the rewards are good and you're blasting good rewards every week, that's going to be your entire end game. But I think if they made this more of an event style, we'll see how it plays. Like I don't want to go changing stuff before I even play it, but
right.
But I think if they do put something in there, some kind of rewards, whether it's just a reskin or something to give some initiative for people to grind it, I could see it, being a thing where it's like you look at it, the rewards for the week, and you're like, oh, that horse, nah, I don't care about it. But the next week, you're like, oh, that horse is pretty dope. Maybe I'll go grind that guy.
Yeah.
And then you try to push hard to get the top spot to get the horse.
I will say the one positive thing about the weekly new leaderboard is that gives them the freedom to change anything they want. So if season 1 comes out or season 3 comes out and, Charge Barb is like
broken.
There's a proc off of a proc, right? They can be reactive because like just that 1 week will be ruined. And so I do like that bit of it. There's no like, ooh, well, like Path of Exile, 3 months, we gotta wait 3 months. Diablo 3, we gotta wait 3 months for something to get fixed and then everyone's like, well, I have to play the exploit build, right? So
if it's gracious enough that they actually go patch it mid-season, then everybody loses their mind too, and then they're trying to purge leaderboards and
they did touch on that too. I thought that was pretty interesting. So they're setting a format in the future of like we're doing balance changes will happen at the start of every season, and then they'll do it mid-season, like slightly lesser. And they did leave room here for like, hey, if it's a exploit, if it's something that's like, you know, a proc of a proc, something that's clearly not supposed to happen, more than likely we're gonna patch it. So
that's the patch strategy that Overwatch has adopted lately too, where they do a major patch, mid-season patch. And it looks like the Diablo 4 team was going to that Overwatch style patch system. And I like it. I like it a lot, to be honest. Because I think it sets a precedent like, okay, the patch came out, this is the new stuff, and you play it. And then halfway through the season, you're like, okay, the really stupid, ridiculous stuff is going to get nerfed and the underperforming stuff will get brought up. And then so, you know, you don't have to go reroll because you pick Druid. They'll, you know, it's going to get a little buff mid-season, or, you know, hey, charge barb is so stupid broken, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Like, you know, okay, we're going to nerf it. So I do like that. And it's a cadence that we'll all get used to, right? A year from now, we'll be like, okay, you know, can't wait for the mid-season patch. It should be in like 2 weeks. So,
yeah,
you know.
I'll also say like the format I think could be better than I originally thought. I sort of just assumed they would be like, well, maybe there's like a race or there's like a bar you have to fill up and then you kill the sort of the rift boss and you get your time, sort of like Diablo 3 style, right? But it seems like, you know, it's based on time a little bit. It's factored into a score. It's factored into a greater score. So it's like a matter of how fast you can, you know, sort of clear probably the entire map, or how efficiently you want to be doing that. And then there's new pylons that like basically res everything that you kill around the pylon. So you have to like sort of use those optimally to like increase your score. So I mean, that could be kind of interesting. But again, the fact that this is static is like, man, that I don't know what kind of replayability comes with that. But we'll have to see.
Well, it's static for the week, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing. Yeah. So you're not fishing for a forest with 4 pylons like you were in D3. Now you're just like, okay, well, what's my score going to be if I drag this group over to the pylon to get him to get rezzed? Or what if I pop this and then run here? You know, it's going to be a lot of testing. And the crazy part will be is, you know, there's going to be content creators that will just make the videos like, oh, this is how I got my 10 million score, copy what I did, right?
Sure.
So
that would be the negative part to me. Not that what you just said, but so say I push rank 1 and you know, I'm a streamer and I'm going to do it live. People are going to be able to take what I did. They're going to take my exact build because I did it live. Whereas they don't they're not snapshotting how your character looks. So if you inspect someone that's rank 1 on the leaderboard, unless you did it like right as they cleared it, you're not going to be able to see exactly what they use. You're going to see what they're using right now.
Yeah, that's nutty. So you're going to have people using the wrong stuff a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they can see what you did live too. So they're like, oh, Fluff just did this by this exact route. I'm going to do the same thing. And so they can start with yours as the blueprint. Right. And then, so you spent 5 hours getting that blueprint, and now they can spend another 5 hours on top of that. So they're, you know, piggybacking off the work you did, which that's part of the life of a streamer. Like that's, you know, it comes with the territory, and people will actually make content and make a living doing that. But I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to make the impression sit. Because is it going to be score based? Are the rewards going to be score based or position based? Right? Is it the top 1% get a thing, top 10% get a thing, or is it beat 1 million points and you get this thing?
Well, the top 1,000 make it to the board. The top 10 they stay on the board like forever.
They're immortalized. Right. Yeah, yeah. Just like they said for D3, right? Even though they took us off.
Right.
So, yeah.
To me, that's like, I don't know. I think it's a big question mark, because if you're not snapshotting what someone's gear was at the moment they did it, what if they use some exploit? And so everyone's like, how did they get that score? That's actually crazy. And they go and inspect that character, and it's just like, oh, they're a pet build on Necro. Like, that can't be right. You know, it leaves so much in the air. I don't like that at all.
I completely agree. And it's the same. It's the same with those boards. Like it's going to be exploit city. Like there's things like that now. Like 2K, I play a lot of 2K. They have a weekly race every week in 2K where you have to race around the city on a skateboard or bike or whatever. And you do it, and then I do it very efficiently. And then I look, and like the top score is like 14 seconds faster than mine. And I'm like, there's no way you could cut 14 seconds off. There's literally no way. Well, then you look at YouTube, and there's like an exploit where if you like clip a mailbox the specific way, it glitches you through a thing, and It's just like, come on, man. So like, is that what we're going to get into with this too? Are we going to have people, oh, I found this, I'm sitting on this weird damage bug because I don't want to tell anybody,
right?
Because I'm smashing leaderboards every week with it. And we can't tell because there's no snapshot.
Exactly.
So have they commented on that? Have you heard any official, like, yeah, we're not snapshotting?
They talked about it in the dev stream.
In the thing?
Yeah. But they kind of just glazed over it like, they don't know because they're not like leaderboard pushers. They don't know that would be necessarily not a good thing. So it didn't seem like when they answered the question, I think it was just like a chat question that they answered.
I wonder if it's a like a resource limitation too. Like, does it use more resources to store that, more database storage, more, I don't know.
Or they just don't have a way currently to snapshot that. Yeah.
Right.
But then the patch notes, we got the actual patch notes on, what was it, like last Friday, I think.
Yeah, about a week ago.
So all classes, there's some new uniques in the game. There's one called the Pain Gorger's Gauntlet, which is new unique gloves. Damaging enemies with a non-basic skill marks them for 3 seconds. When a basic skill first hits a marked enemy, the basic skill's damage echo to all marked enemies, dealing up to 200% increased damage. So that's pretty cool. I only think of the Necro here, and I don't know that there would be still a great way to buff up basic skills, but I think for other classes, this could be pretty cool. Aspect of adaptability. When cast at 50% maximum resource, basic skills generate 3 of your primary resource once per cast. So basically a way of juicing up your resource when you get low.
Yeah. A little extra juice. Okay.
When cast at 50% of maximum resource, the basic skills deal increased damage. So again, more basic skill juice for builds that maybe want to do generators. They added a new defensive aspect where you gain 0.75 to 1.25 armor, but your evade has 100% increased cooldown. So that's interesting because there are the boots that like give you additional evade charges. And so I wonder if you could sort of counter this negative with that. But I think that
just don't evade. Just stand there and tank it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're a barbarian, you probably can.
Yeah.
But for Necro, this would probably not be usable because we don't even have a way to become unstoppable.
Yeah.
This is huge. Ring of Starless Thighs is getting updated. So it used to be you reduce your resource cost of your skills by 12% up to a maximum 40%. But it's reset on using a non-core skill. But the new one is spending resource reduces your resource cost and increases your damage by 10% for 3 seconds up to 40%. So it's 40% resource cost reduction and 40% just flat damage. And it's not just for core abilities. It's for just flat damage. So this is maybe one of the best uniques in the game now, honestly.
Yep.
What is this? Offensive aspect of the expected damage bonus knows 5-second duration. I don't even know what this is. Melted Heart of Selig. I don't even know what this is. So previous gain 30% max resource. In addition, you take damage drain. Oh, it's basically like a if you have resource, it's like a damage shield. So maybe for like basic skill builds, it'll be quite good. This one is sort of interesting. A lot of people read this and are like, oh my God. So basically they nerf overpower. So overpower attacks went from 2% per 1% of your base life if you have fortified to 1%. So that's, on paper, maybe like a 50% additive loss, which probably for overpower builds, this would be like a, 35% damage loss overall. But overpower builds are overperforming. So I think this is a good thing. But another thing that isn't really covered here, and I'll scroll all the way down to the very bottom because you'd have to like sort of know the bug fixes. Life. Somewhere in here. Yeah. Fixing an issue where effects of increased life by percentage, such as elixir of fortitude or like the stuff in your gear, the gems in your gear, does not account for other certain max life bonuses, such as gratify affix on equipment. So they're changing how max life is calculated. before, for some reason, they do like your base life, and then they do your gems and your gear, and then at the end of that math, they would add the flat life you have on gear. So you'd have like 1,300 in your chest at the end of it instead of
which
before,
is like nothing.
Which just makes no sense.
It makes no sense. Yeah.
But now, now we're gonna have, I think, much bigger life pools. So this will also counter, I think, a lot of the overpowered nerfs. I still think it'll be overpowered, will be nerfed, but I think it'll be a lot less than is what's shown here.
Yep.
A lot of people might not have caught that. What else?
Barb got some stuff.
Yeah, Barb got stuff. And again, I've not really played anything but Necro. But from the dev live stream, Charge, it sounds like Charge is getting, like, they got like a plus 12 times base damage, which is pretty nutty. And even in the live stream, they're like, hey, Charge is probably going to be like too good. Like we might have to react to it.
Straight, right. Like all you million Barbs out there, just slow your roll.
So
don't get mad.
Barb sounds like it's getting some cool stuff. Bleed buffs, which is cool. I'm a big Dot fan.
Yeah, I like bleeds too.
Druid, this lightning storm thing seems pretty cool. From the video,
yep.
I've not played it. Rabies buffs, which if I ever played a Druid, the poison is rabies, and so that sounds cool. And we'll go over. Rax made a tier list. I'm not a big fan of tier lists, but I guess if we were going to listen to any one of them, Rax would be a good one, and we'll just touch on that sort of at the end of this. Necro, of course, I can deep dive into this one, but we're getting a Bloodlance chest, which will be pretty huge. It'll basically count yourself as being Bloodlance, so you'll always get like a flat Bloodlance mod. There's a lot of Bloodlance aspects that if there's other enemies lanced already, they do additional things. So the fact that you're always lanced is going to be huge. And plus it gives a flat 20% increased damage and fortifies you and has a chance to farm a blowboard. So that chest, regardless of what the stats on this thing are, it's going to be pretty insane. Really, really good item. Also, casting Bone Spirit launches 18 Bone Splinters in all directions, dealing 400% increased damage and generating 6 essence per enemy hits. So this is pretty big for Bone Spirit builds. I still don't think Bone Spirit would be very fun, but maybe I'll be wrong. Corpse Explosion. This one doesn't make any sense to me. So they reduced the lucky hit chance on Corpse Explosion from 40 to 25. I assume because of Infinimist, which is like some max roll build, was overperforming in Abattoir. But the build, I think, is not that good, except for it was excelling in Abattoir because it can stay like invulnerable to damage. And I could only assume that this was to counter that, but Abattoir is no longer in the game. So the fact that they nerfed it still doesn't really make sense to me. But maybe they have something coming. But also the Blighted Corpse Explosion damage has gone down and got nerfed, which I think is undeserved. Blight got buffed. Yay. Sever also got buffed. Yay. It probably still needs more. Bone Spirit got buffed. They changed some of the aspects. They're still trying to make Decompose cool. I left this feedback in the thing, but like channeling skills in Diablo, it just sucks. You remember how like your channel skill in Lost Ark, where it like it would have like maybe a bar would pop up and it would show you like the optimal time to sort of release the channel.
Yep.
Or like
Absolutely.
You had stages, you could charge it up, and then at stage 3 you could release it to do more damage. Like that's the good way of doing channel. The way that Diablo does channel, where you just hold it down. This is so boring. They changed Dreadful Blood Mist. This whole like you gain 10% crit for 4 seconds after Blood Mist ends. I don't know what build would use this. It's a lot of these things. And Macro Bioboy said sort of the same thing. He's like, who's this for? I sort of agree with that sentiment. Like, I don't know what this is for. Bone Prison, they got rid of the Bone Prison that gives Fortify. And again, I don't understand why. And they changed the rune to be something terrible. So I don't know who's making the decisions, but those two I think were pretty bad. They seem to be trying to buff Golem. The Golems now, the basic attack from the Golem, I guess the Bone Golem would cleave, but now the Iron Golem and the Blood Golem will also cleave, so they're not as bad, but the pets are still pretty bad. And the other pets, the mages and the skeletons, are still pretty much worthless. But they said they have plans to make them better. We'll see. This was the funniest one. I'm sorry, I'm going deep diving into necro stuff because I know it. So they made the Iron Maiden curse, the one that like you'll deal damage to them if they hit you. It's basically like Thorns, but it's percentage. What is happening in chat?
Did you see? I sent you a text.
What the actual hell?
Yeah, you're getting botted. Just turn follow only mode on.
Okay.
It'll fix it for now.
I don't even know where to do that.
Settings bar.
On the chat window?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I don't even know where to do that. Okay, follower only.
Yeah.
On.
There you go.
Wow. That was crazy.
It's going for a little bit. I sent you a text. I was like, chat's popping off, boys. That's funny, dude.
Oh, he copied paste. Like, there's still a guy in here, but it's actually a follower.
That's funny.
Yeah, so, wow, derailed. But yeah, so Iron Maiden is the curse that basically performs like Thorns, right? And I think you'll get a kick out of this. So you want mobs to hit you, and it's going to proc shadow damage. But the Iron Maiden itself gives the ability for darkness enemies to be stunned. It has a chance to be stunned when you deal direct damage. So you have a chance to proc Iron Maiden not doing damage. So like you're going to stun the mobs and they can't do damage to you and you can't proc Iron Maiden. And it's funny too because there's already like stun built into shadow damage. So you basically have a double chance at all times to not do the damage. And then there's a new rune on the construct, the pet in season 3, that makes shadow damage interrupt enemies. So
another way to not stun them. Yeah.
So stupid.
It's good design.
Running aspect chance to spawn additional corpses increased. Cool. But that's it. Okay, so then there's Rogue, and I guess the Rogue stuff is pretty. There's a lot of nerfs. Twisting Blades is nerfed. They buffed a lot of the sort of range stuff. But I guess overall the class 1 might be a little harder to play. But yeah,
Rogue might be harder to play now. What do you?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So like the range builds are a bit harder to play. This is all third party. Like this is from like Udijo and Rax. I don't play anything else, but it sounds like they said that the range builds are a bit more like skill gapped. Like they're just a bit harder to like do perfect amounts of damage. And Twisting Blades was like really noob friendly. And now the melee builds might be like sort of like they can still do really well, but the skill gap is going to be like way higher. So
yeah. Well, anyways. We'll see. It's a super casual friendly game, so either I agree. Fix it or it's not going to be that hard anyways.
Sorcerer, obviously the ball lightning stuff is nerfed, but they've got this new meteor unique that looks actually. I don't know if you saw that in the Fireside chat.
Yeah, I did.
But it looks really cool.
Yeah, it did. It did look pretty cool. The druid. They only showed the druid in the main.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, but I do agree. I think that they both looked pretty decent. They looked cool. So.
We get new nightmare dungeons as we do every single season. They made it so you Distilled Fear can more consistently drop from nightmare dungeons because I guess that was a problem before, and some other random bug fixes. The cool thing here, the really, really cool thing here is so basically in Nightmare Dungeon 90 plus is guaranteed 925 gear. So before, like, you'd have a chance, right? It'd be 810 to 925 at Nightmare 100. So it made it pointless. The only way you get 925 gear is by fighting Duriel consistently.
That's a good change.
It's a huge change. So like now there actually be a point to be in Nightmare Dungeons in the end game.
Yep.
I think that's it for the big things. Yeah. But I want to talk about these constructs. So it's a pretty good write-up on Max Roll. But so we have these governing stones. So you have the governing stones, you get 2 of them. Your construct can have basically 2 abilities. And these are the 12 you get to choose from. So one is called Auto Defense. It's basically an anti-material field around the construct that shoots down enemy proges up to 30. And it lasts 5 seconds. What do you think about that?
Say that one more time. I can't see that.
Oh, all good. Here, you have my chat open by chance? I'll just post this in there. You can have it up.
Gotcha.
If you just like hover over number 1, it'll show you what it actually does.
I don't know if you linked the right thing.
Yeah, governing stones. You scroll down the governing stones, obtaining the stones, list the governing stones. And if you go to number 1, you hover over it. It shows you what it is.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's auto defense. It's basically like I don't know.
Yeah. So Sentinel constructs, activates. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, it's going to activate a field around itself.
Yeah.
It shoots enemies.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. The thing that I don't like about this one. So one is a 25-second cooldown, but you can reduce that cooldown with the tuning stones. We'll get into that in a minute. But you don't get to choose when it happens.
Right.
So that's
the same thing we had with the other follower stuff
right?
from D3.
Yeah.
Like that's the lesson we've already learned.
Right.
We've been down this. So.
Number 2, quickly ambush, dealing damage to each target. May strike the same target multiple times. Bushwhack. Firefly, deploy a small construct that lands on the target exploding 3 times. So the construct basically throws out 3 mini constructs. Adrenaline administers a quick blast of adrenaline into players, granting a damage bonus for a duration. So cool. A good way to support you. Do more damage. Focus fire, the construct channels a ray into 2 targets, and you can increase that with tuning stones. That does fire damage. Gyrate, this one seems to be like the fastest cooldown, but basically it does like a quick whirlwind to all enemies around it. Impale, perform a line attack, dealing X damage. Lightning bolt is basically like arc from PoE. It shoots out a lightning bolt and it chains between all the enemies. Protect, this one I think could be really interesting, but we don't know anything about it besides the quest text. But it says the construct materializes a barrier on the player for a portion of their max life. So this could be a way potentially of generating barrier.
Yeah. But again, it's like how how
is it 25 seconds? Is it good?
It wants to do it. Do we get to choose when to do it? You know, I can't imagine we get to actually use the skill at all.
Right.
So is it based on when we get hit? Like, I don't know.
Reconstruct is the construct will basically channel a healing beam, which again, you don't control that. So that doesn't seem good at all.
I mean, it depends on how much and when it triggers. Like if it triggers at 50% life, okay, you go to 50% life and then it's going to heal me every time that happens or help
that would
me,
make more sense, right?
Right? You know, okay, that's okay, I guess. But if it's just randomly heal beaming me, it's
no good.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Slash, pummel enemies in front of the construct, dealing damage. And then finally, Tempest, electric charge an enemy, causing to deal damage to themselves over time. If the enemy is killed, Tempest spreads to additional enemies, dealing bonus damage. These bonuses are also applied to Tempest or reapplied on the same enemy, which could be like the season 1 Malignant Heart that was just OP. A lot of people are thinking it might be like that. So those are the governing stones. Those are the abilities you can put. And you put 2 on your construct, and then you can modify those with the tuning stones. These are they're basically like literally support gems from Path of Exile. Yeah. To me, and Quinn kind of said this too, is like maybe this might be a test drive system for how the abilities could work in the future.
Yeah, I can see that. Like you can see the arcing support gem would just go right on with Tempest. It looks like.
Yep.
The arcing skill hits 10 additional enemies.
The interesting thing here,
lightning bolt skill too. So
is these constructs will apply bleeding or whatever effect. So like as a necro, I could apply bleeding if I wanted to. And the reason that's kind of interesting is because I could say I had a chest piece and I wanted more damage. I could have my chest piece, roll a barbarian, go on to him, and then I could roll into damage to bleeding enemies. And because my construct is applying bleed, I now have a way of doing that. So then you have this for all effects.
Another multiplier, right? Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Or just in general, like, you know, if you're applying bleeds and you're playing a Ren barb, then you need your targets bleeding, you know? So
Exactly.
it's another way for you to get it. But again, you're just relying on your pet to do it, and it just takes control out of the player's hands. It automates the gameplay. And I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, we'll see. I hope whatever they do that these cooldowns are very short and it seems significant. Because an example I have is if you play Diablo 3 and in your follower, you can for the Templar in D3, he has an ability where he'll heal you if you get low on health, right? But you never notice it. Like it's never like you can choose that talent, and every random now and then you'll see it hit. But one, it didn't scale properly. And two, the cooldown was so long on it that it just seemed worthless in general. Like anytime you're in trouble, he's not healing you up and saving your ass.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that they have it, since they are going the follower pet route. I hope that they've learned from some of those things and it actually feels significant. So, but yeah, I hope like this skill gem idea could be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very, very basic, right? It's like 12 skill gems and almost 30 support gems. So,
yeah, to me on paper,
but I like that. I like that though. I do like that direction.
Yeah.
So
to me, and there's one that's crazy. There's one that's like this one. Evernight supporter skills grant +4 to all skills when used for 2 seconds. So if you paired this with something that went off really fast, +4 all skills. I mean, that's pretty nutty.
Huge. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people will be doing.
There's some that aren't even discovered yet. Like they just have questions on them.
I think we'll see a lot of. I'm curious. Not the reconstruct. Protect. If that one's good, and we can successfully apply barrier to ourselves, like consistently, and then we could use, lucky hit chance while being affected by barrier. Yep. That could be huge. But if it's like a 30-second cooldown, then that insta sucks.
Right.
I think,
or you have to be hurt for it to apply it to you, or something weird.
This Tempest could be pretty crazy. I'm hoping that these pets aren't going to be doing like just insane amounts of damage, and ultimately we're just going to be like speccing our characters, because the pets take on our stats. So if we have a bunch of attack speed, the pets get a bunch of attack speed. If we have a bunch of crit, they get a bunch of crit. So I'm hoping this season isn't going to be like, well, I'm just going to build a bunch of like crit damage, and my build is going to be basically worthless, but I can bet I can like apply curses. My pet kills stuff.
It's just a minion. Like I would envision this to be a support character. Like if I were designing this, my vision would be like, this is a support pet. It's going to heal you or debuff enemies, and I would kind of leave it at that. So if you have an arc support and it's shooting 10 people every time it shoots a lightning bolt out, and then that can have a chance to do some, whatever debuff or poison support, something like that, then that'd be cool. But I don't know. We'll see how it plays.
Right.
I'm not overly excited about the follower system. I do like the direction of these skills with support gems. I think that's a nod. And see, like, this is a nod in PoE's direction. And Diablo 4 is such a simplistic, basic game that you could still take PoE systems and dumb them down for a casual audience, and they still work. Because you could still do a gem support gem system. You just don't have 150. You have 30, right? Or 1,000. I don't even know how many support gems PoE has at this point, but it's a lot. So it's a nod in the right direction if the test goes well. So the problem is it's just on a pet.
Yeah. There's interesting ones, like there's one that can get resources, one that get crit chance, there's one that gives +4 all skills like we talked about. So I think some of these could be really good from a support perspective. And there's one that you can even apply, has a chance to apply vulnerable, and that could be good if you don't have great ways of applying vulnerable. But
portion of the supported skills damage is applied as poison over time. Poison has a chance to spread poison to an additional enemy. So I mean, some of the supports are pretty basic, but they're interesting. Because like, I want to play a poison build. Let me poison support this skill, and now I'm poisoning everything. Like, that's cool. So
but that's pretty. Oh, and then I wanted to touch on this real quick. So this is, again, I'm not crazy about tier lists, but Rex, did one, and I wanted to like just talk about it real quick. Fucking ads.
Spicy chicken deluxe sandwich. There you go. Free sponsor of the New Meta podcast. Don't even pay us.
Double ad. Nice. This one's a gun holster. Sweet.
Yeah. What have you been looking up?
So first he says Druid is he puts in last place.
Yeah, his rankings seem to go so he ranks multiple facets of the game, and so the higher the number, the worse it is. So rank 1 would be better than rank 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he summarizes everything though. I can't quite see what he put him on. I think the full screen's covered.
So leveling, he ranks as the worst for Druid. Speed, 4-1. I don't really know what that means. Yeah. But overall,
yeah, I think -1 is from the rank from last season. That would be my guess. I could be wrong about that, but that'd be my guess. So overall, he thinks that Druid is the worst class. Now, I'm with you. I think tier lists are subjective. I think everybody's going to have a class they gravitate to, and they just like the playstyle more. So if you're a Druid main, don't feel like you have to play something else.
Right.
So,
Rogue he puts at now number 4.
Okay.
Necro he puts in the middle. Which
I would like to see Rogue broken out too, because it's like melee Rogue or range Rogue too.
Yeah, range Rogue would be good.
They feel so different.
Sorcerer is number 2.
My favorite class. Probably what I'll play.
Okay. Big things coming. Meteor. And then Barb will be overall 1, according to Rex. So we'll see.
Yep.
If you're a meta slave, you can follow that list. But again, you should play what you want at the end of the day.
I agree.
And that's sort of...
and it's hard to say. We don't know what uniques the other classes... Every class is getting a new unique, right?
We talk. And they're in the patch notes. You can see them.
Oh, are they all? Was that all of them? Oh, I thought they were still... You're right. They are in the patch notes. Never mind. So we've seen them. Because nothing else really jumped out at me as being like, oh, that's so crazy.
In other news... Unless, do you have anything else to talk about with D4?
I think they shouldn't tell us that stuff. You don't think it'd be cool if we had a season where we didn't know what they put in the game until we got it?
I guess, but at the same time, like, you kind of want to know what build you want to do before going into this. I don't know. Yeah. With Path of Exile, they always show us.
I get it. Like, you want to know what you want to build. You want to know what you want to do. But at the same time, there's no discovery in anything anymore. Like,
I mean, there still is discovery because, like, you see the uniques, but you don't know how good it is.
We'll see how they play. That's not true. You're right. That isn't true. There is some discovery in this season because we don't know all the skill gems and all the support gems for the pet.
I think that
we don't know.
The interesting here is, so, like, the Necro got a new Bloodlance unique, right? Where is it? Well, I can't find it now, but basically, we don't know the stat. I think that's the cool thing. We know what the power is. So it gives 20% increased Bloodlance damage and 5% chance to put on a blood orb, and it'll fortify you for 2% every single time you shoot a Bloodlance. But the actual stats of the item on the new unique, we have no idea. So it could have lucky hit chance, it could have blood skill damage, it could have whatever. I think that's pretty cool that we don't. So that we know what it is, but we don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like the discovery portion. I like people not knowing what's what when they go into a thing. So I think there's fun in that. It's excitement to get that unique and be like, "Ooh, what'd I get? Oh, this is dope!" Like, the first time you get that, you're gonna look at the stats and go, "Oh, okay, all right." Freak out or be disappointed. One of the two.
Right.
So,
okay, so lay it on me. Are you gonna play?
Maybe.
Oh my god.
Yeah, probably a little bit. I'm the most intriguing thing to me is WSAD. I want to play the game with that and see how much does it change the way I play? And then I think that's the enticing factor that's going to get me to play. Then it will just be if I'm having fun. If I'm having fun, I'll keep playing, but I am not going to force myself to play the game just because. So hopefully I have a good time. Hopefully the content's good. Makes me play it, but I'm not going to sit there and DAP mods that shit and grind it out just because I feel like I have to grind it out. I don't have to grind it anymore. You know what I mean?
Fine.
So,
okay. Well, yeah. Well, I'm obviously gonna play.
I mean, that's fine. You can go hard in the paint even if you're not having fun.
I I mean, I enjoyed the season 2 that I played.
I don't know if it's going to be fun or not. I hope it is. I hope I have a good time.
But I'm an ARPG.
I want to play.
You gave up. You quit. I don't know.
I did. I did. I abandoned the ARPG ship a little bit. I've branched out. I've blossomed.
Oh, wow.
So
blossomed or
I did burn out on WoW finally though.
God damn, finally.
Dude, it took a lot, man. I went hard.
20-year-old game finally get burned out, and you're playing the same content you played already.
No. I was playing retail this last go around, so there's new stuff. Just relax over there, okay? Elder Quest, Scroll Guy, whatever the game was called.
EverQuest.
I
didn't replay. I just if they came out with EverQuest 2 Classic tomorrow, guess what? I would not play.
You wouldn't play anything classic.
No.
Though. The only classic you would play is if they came out with Harvest League Classic one more time.
No,
I grind that shit.
I wouldn't fucking do it. No way.
So,
but yeah, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna.
When is it? When is the launch date again?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I thought the patch.
That's the other negative.
The patch hits tomorrow. Does it actually? The season drops at the same time?
Yeah.
There's no gap.
It's noon tomorrow. Season launch.
That's cool. Let me go ahead and take off. Oh wait, no.
Yeah.
I'm not take off.
Let me take off the rest of the week to play Diablo 4 season.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Fridays, please win?
No
question.
shot, dude.
Like PoE's not going to fuck that up. I hope, right?
No,
like
of course not.
Well, I would have said, of course not for Diablo as well. Like they did. Diablo 3 had it right. Like they did it right for the entire life of the game. It was always Fridays.
Yep.
At 7 Central, which is 5 West Coast, right?
Something like that.
It's like what happened? Because Joe and Bob don't want to have to work on the weekend because you're launching, like because you got three or four dudes that don't want to work the weekend. I really don't understand what it could be.
Yeah, 5 employees versus like millions of players.
The whole world. Yeah,
so dumb.
So people like should have brought that up. Like, trust me, I have spoken to many people about the launch dates.
Oh yeah, they 100% know. I complain every single season.
Yeah, they know, and they double down. I've actually heard some double downs on why it's a good launch time, and I'm like, knowing
good for them,
but yeah,
not good for us.
So yeah, but anyway, all right.
No.
Beat that dead horse a little bit.
Yeah. But that's it. There's other things you want to move on.
So yeah, let's move on, man. We got a couple other things to talk about.
We do.
Schedule a little back up.
So. If you guys didn't know, last Epoch is finally going to be coming out. Scheduled date.
You've played this like years and years ago, right?
Long time ago. Yeah.
So I have it. I haven't played it yet. I do own the game.
Okay.
But I have never.
I think it's
booted
free.
it up.
Oh.
They better not have made it free.
I think so.
I'm ready
Right?
for this.
The base game is maybe free, or maybe it's $30.
Is it?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I know it costs money, so it used to cost money. If it's free now, that's been a change.
It's free for me. So.
Yeah, they gave me a copy of it too, but it's still not free though. I don't think. I hope it's not. And the reason I say that is because I don't. PoE I think does a good job of the free to play model, but I still don't like that model. I'd still rather pay money for a game and just have all the content in the game. I don't want to item shop. I don't want to store, like, just let me buy. I think the store in Diablo 4 kind of sucks ass, if I'm being honest. I think it's cosmetic only. There's no power, so I can tolerate it, but I really do wish it wasn't there. All the cool armor they put in the store, which isn't that cool, I want to go get in the game. I want to go kill somebody to get it. So
yeah, and we're gonna disagree on this until the end of time, but I don't care what the fuck you put in the shop. Put as many cool things as you want, as long as the game's like free to play. Or if that
wouldn't
if
you
that
rather
money
go earn
generates
those items?
No, I don't give a shit. If that money goes towards like actual game devs and like making the game better, like charge as much as you want, put as many cool things as you want on the shop. I don't give a fuck how my character looks. I want the game to be fun at the end of the day. So
yeah, I do too, but I don't want to be nickel and dimed when I want to play it. And again, I guess if it's cosmetic, I don't have to have the cosmetics.
Exactly.
But that's part of the chase to me, though. I think, and maybe that's just the WoW Andy in me, because a big replayability feature of WoW to me is to go chase those cosmetics that I like. I'm like, oh, I don't have those. Let me go farm them.
There's still those in any game, but yeah, if you want them to be like the coolest armor in the game or something like that.
Yeah, but like the coolest items in WoW are the ones that have the lowest drop rate, the ones you have to go farm.
Sucks, dude. We're gonna talk about this and disagree with this in the end of time. World of Warcraft. Like,
see, that's why your
dumbest fucking
opinion's
game.
invalid. So,
well, one of us plays RPGs, and one of us used to. But yeah, I don't mind. But
yeah, so this comes out the February
21st.
21st. So
Soon.
it's around the corner, man. That's pretty cool. It looks good. Graphically, it's come a long ways over the years. We've been following this game since the podcast started. I mean, it's probably in the first couple episodes we talk about it. And it's graphically come a long way. It looks good. I know they added multiplayer a while back, one of the big patches there. So I haven't played it, so I don't know how it works. I think that's something Diablo 3 did pretty well. I think they incentivized multiplayer in a good way where you didn't have to do it if you didn't want to, but if you did, it was cool. Diablo 4, I feel like multiplayer sucks. Like I don't feel the desire to group up with people in D4 like I did in D3.
Oh yeah. There's basically no sense of it being, in this MMO ARPG that they sort of hyped. There's no sense of community
really weird
at all,
to me.
really.
Yeah, it's really weird that Diablo 4 is worse than D3 in that aspect. But it would be cool if last Epoch did multiplayer was incentivized in a way that wasn't forceful, but still like, it makes sense for me to group up with Fluff and go kill some stuff. Yeah. That'd be fun. So we'll see. I'm interested. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it. Depending on if the D4 season is fun or not, that will I think determine if I'm throwing down launch day. And I expect that I really, from the patch notes in D4, I don't think it's going to be enough to make me be like, oh, this is amazing and I'm having the best time of my life. So
I feel like probably for me, it's at least enough for a couple of weeks is what I've seen.
Yeah.
For how early we are in Diablo 4's development, like I'm in.
Yep.
But yeah, so this looks good. I've recently, I've heard conversations with some of the guys that really have been playing this game for its entirety of its beta. A lot of people have described it as sort of that perfect in between the complexity of Path of Exile and the simplicity of Diablo 4. It's sort of that perfect halfway.
Does combat have any semblance of Lost Ark in there? Did they steal anything?
No, I would say it's very
like D3-ish.
Yeah.
Man, why hasn't somebody ripped off Lost Ark's combat system yet? I don't understand.
Yeah. I don't think we'll probably ever get that. I think Lost Ark will probably remain sort of like that, God, what if? Forever, probably.
Forever, yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. It could be that perfect middle ground. So I definitely will be playing probably a lot of it. It does seem to be pretty polished. I've heard only good things, honestly. This is not going to be like a Wilson launch, and I think that they're ready.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited.
Hey, listen, those Wilson bosses with my minion build that did no damage because the talents were all broken. Let me tell you,
my build that did so much damage it would cause me to fall through the world and fail the dungeon. That was so cool.
I had to kill the second boss in Wilson without getting hit once ever the whole time, and it was like I had memorized Simon Says every telegraph. It was so amazing. It was so great. So anyway, rip Wilson.
Cool. Also, something happened while we were gone. The final update for Diablo 3 happened. Yeah. Did you hop on and play this at all?
I didn't. 30? I was so close. I had a group of guys asking me to play that Friday night, but I ended up, my son had a basketball game and I wanted to go to his game. So, and then once you miss the launch, it's kind of like, But it was, the patch notes were decent. I remember reading over them. I don't remember all the details now for them in depth, but they did, I think, they tried to do like one final balance sweep and kind of get things in line. And I think it's a good send off, man. I really think hats off to the D3 team that picked it up in season 13, and they really tried to work with it and give us content for what kind of team that they had and the assets they had to do the work. I think they did a good job, man. So
yeah, I mean, I'll probably try to play if I can just be in town. Like I was gone, like maybe season 31 if it's some weekend I'm actually here. I still haven't got to try SSF. I was actually watching Leviathan play 2 days ago, a little bit when I was working, and there's just so much. I'd never played the Altar season.
Alter season was good, man.
Yeah.
That's the last one I played. It was really good.
Right.
So they had to tone it down. It was super broken in the Alter season,
Right.
so they had to tone it down. But it's a great addition to the game. I think it gives depth, and then they added SSF as a core feature that you can click, which is amazing. So what else? What else did they do for this season specifically?
There's a whole bunch of stuff I just didn't even recognize. Like you can break down primals and somehow make I don't even know.
Yeah, you can craft one primal, but you can only equip one of those at a time. So it's limit. You can't craft a full set of primals. It has a name to it. I can't remember what they call it, but it has a different border, so you can identify if somebody's got one on, like their crafted primal. So, kind of cool.
Yeah, a lot of things I didn't recognize. But if they do season 31, I'm actually here.
It was our primal dust concept that we talked about for like 5 years, basically. So it became a thing.
But last
they did put, and I feel kind of bad because I didn't play, but they directly implemented like last season, I think. I made like some of the monk feedback because I played monk the last time I played, and I was like, listen, these sets are broken, and here's the things I would change to fix them, and they direct like word for word put in the changes I made. So it's kind of cool to be. Those are immortalized now because there's not going to be any updates. Right. So it's kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool. Those are my ideas. So
yeah, that's cool. Last bit of Blizzard news, Poggies. Bobby Kotick is finally getting the GTFO out of Blizz.
Peace
the fuck out, you fucking rat. Hate this guy. So this is a good bit of news while we were gone.
There was some clamor internally. Externally, I saw Blizzard employees posting on Twitter, or maybe they were ex-employees. I can't remember. I think they're probably ex-employees now. They were like, spilling some beans when he left, and internally there were some rumblings because I work for the mothership of Activision Blizzard, right? So internally we had some rumblings about it too. So it's interesting. Guy got his paycheck, I guess, though. So
fuck that guy.
He's going to Trump Island right now, on his way.
He's on that.
I wonder if he's on list. Is he in the book? Is the list ever come out?
He's in it. He's 100%.
Is he 100% in the book?
100%.
Hold on, I'm looking this up. That's crazy.
And then the last bit of news you put on here, and I don't really know anything about this.
Yeah, this just happened. Like this happened after like 5 o'clock this evening ish. Like it was a late thing. Riot, I guess the reason I saw it is because of Bex. So like if you don't know, Bex was the former community manager for Path of Exile. She's now working for Riot. I don't know exactly what her role is, to be honest, but she posted like, I'm so sorry for all my friends, blah, 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 or, something just being like, this is a bad day. And I'm like, what's she talking about? And so I drill in a little bit and I see that Riot released 11% of their workforce this evening, which is around 530 people. And so if you scroll down, like this is a post, if you want to, you can look it up. It's all over if you want to see it, but it's basically a post saying like why they did it. And they hired a bunch of people in the last couple of years. They doubled their size of their workforce. And then I guess they couldn't support it. And they wanted to focus on games and trim the fat, stop focusing on other projects than their core games. So, they did talk about Arcane. I don't know if you've seen Arcane. It's a animation series they made on Netflix.
Yeah,
it was fantastic. If I know that you don't like story anything, so
I don't like cartoons either. So,
well, my wife says the same thing, and she actually liked it too. So I think there are a couple exceptions when the animation's good enough and the story's good enough. You can
tell her I said she's a fucking nerd. Okay.
So yeah, anyway, that sucks, man. That's bad news. Then there's so I don't know. Google's laid off more people. I'm hearing through the grapevine they're going to lay off even more people. So it's kind of it's been like this ongoing thing for the last year or two that everybody's just lay off. The tech world is just laying off, and AI, Microsoft's at the forefront of AI with Copilot and our offerings. But like Google's doing its thing and IBM's doing its thing, and like, it's just I think AI is gonna start taking away some of the less demanding roles out there, man.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
So sucks.
It does.
Anyway, I think that's it for the
Yeah.
schedule. We have anything else?
No.
Some hates and loves.
Doing.
Okay. You wanna start with the hates? You have hates or you have loves today? What do you got?
Do I have loves ever? I don't know that I do.
Yeah, you do. I think maybe every now and then.
Yeah, every now and then. I don't have any this time.
Yourself, right?
Of course. Hates. So, I don't even know if I've brought this one up before, but it is such a thing. So, like, my best friend's gay, and anytime we're together, like, you know, people are like, oh, like, you guys are a cute couple, whatever. Like, that doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
The thing that's crazy to me is that, like, you know, if I'm talking to someone or he's got like a friend or something like that, they're always like, oh, but you guys have never like done anything. And it's just like, no, like we've never fucking done anything. And like, it's never like something they believe. It's just like, oh, but like just between like you and me, like, have you guys like ever done anything? It's just like, no, dude, like people can be platonic.
You give off that, you
friends.
do give off that vibe, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I understand I trigger the gaydar and, you know, the fact that we're hanging out.
I'm just giving you a hard time,
Yeah.
man. I don't listen. I don't know. We've hung out a lot. We've stayed in rooms. There's no I didn't pick up any vibes. I never thought that.
Well, you were asleep, so.
Well, yeah, true. I mean, okay. So
No,
it wasn't really.
It's not that people mistake me for being gay all the time. You know, my best friend's gay. He's, openly gay. He's very feminine in some regards, and so people just assume we're a couple. And, I don't care. I don't. At the end of the day, it's like if people think I'm gay, everything else I trait. I don't give a shit. But the fact that people just like can't wrap their head around like, oh, well, why would you hang out with a gay person unless you're doing gay stuff? It's just like so ignorant to me.
Yeah, I had so in my early 20s, I had a female friend that was gay, and I used to go with her out to clubs and places, right, and bars and stuff, and I was fine with it because I was comfortable with who I am. I don't care, right? Like I went and had a good time. I got hit on a lot by the same sex, and didn't matter to me.
Sure.
But it was a different world if you've never been there. It was an experience, but I'm glad that I had it. But yeah, I could see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
So, all right, I got a couple things.
Okay.
So, have you been watching Challenge?
Of course.
My boy was on the last episode.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, see, that's why I
don't get a TiVo. I get it on Amazon, so I have to like wait. I think I'm a week behind always.
Oh, that sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk about it later then.
I knew he was gonna be on. Like they leaked that, but
it's just a good. I've my wife got me hooked on the show, and if you guys haven't ever watched the Challenge, there's it's a good time. It really is. And then once you go back and you see some of these legendary players play and how ruthless they are, you just have this respect for them. So when you see them come on, it's just a good time, So anyway, this week's Challenge was good to me. I liked it. I had a great time. My hates, it has been so ridiculously cold for the last 2 weeks.
Oh my God. I agree. This is agree hate.
Yeah. Like it has been so freaking cold. It was like minus 30 wind chill for a couple days, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, my house has a poor design flaw where they extended my kitchen not over the basement. So I guess they thought, hey, we'll make the kitchen 3 feet wider by extending the house, but it's not over the foundation. It's just like an extension kind of. So that area has a gap about, 6 to 8 inches big that air can flow through. So when they ran the kitchen pipes up to the kitchen sink, they're going through that wall that is exposed by that gap in air. So is it a problem most of the time? Nope. Is it a problem when it's negative 10 degrees outside? Yep. So I had to pull everything out of my cabinets and run a hairdryer on the pipes to unthaw my frozen pipes and make sure they don't burst. It was it sucks, man. I'm sick of the cold. I'm ready for it to be gone. So, and actually it is today. It's like above freezing for the first time forever. So, but yeah, other than that, that's my loves and hates for the week. We'll get into some Twitter questions. You got something else?
I feel that. I mean, I left 86 degrees and I landed in -7.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It's
like
nuts.
When it's -30 with that wind chill and you just stand, like I remember thinking, I went out, I had to get in my car. So I don't park my daily driver in the garage. My vet was always in the garage and my wife has the other spot. So my daily driver sits outside. And I remember going outside. I was going to the grocery store and I went to start my car and it was like, it didn't even want to start. It was so cold. It was like, and then I went to the grocery store and came back and my car never even got warm enough for the heat to even kick on. Like it was still blowing out cold air.
Wow.
I'm like, this is dumb. So we're going to jump into some Twitter questions.
Let's do it.
If you guys, hold on. Before we jump into that, a couple things. So chat's been talking about Pal World and I just wanted to bring it up. So
Okay.
Pal World, if you don't know, is the new, it's like a Legend of Zelda looking Pokemon knockoff / people are saying it's like Ark Survival as well.
Okay.
I don't know, but it's #1 on Twitch. It's #1 on game played ever in Steam, breaking records and doing all kinds of stuff.
Right on.
I don't know how they're not sued into oblivion because they copied Pokemon so hard. It's absolutely crazy. I mean,
well, they had like Digimon and shit too. Like that didn't go get fizzled out.
Like, I don't know. I only watched a little bit, but I was just like, this looks crazy. So, but the cool thing is it is multiplayer. So you can play with friends, right?
Okay.
And so I am not a Pokemon fan by any means. Like I've tried to play Pokemon games in the past. I've purchased many. I just don't get into it. It's not my thing. You know? And like within like 20 minutes, I'm like, this sucks. I'm done. So I bought it for my daughter. Because she does like Pokemon games. I tried playing Temtem with her. I don't know if you know what that is. That's another Pokemon knockoff.
Okay.
But Temtem had multiplayer in it, so you could play together. And so I bought Temtem for both of us, and I probably put 20 hours in Temtem with her, but I wanted to poke my eyes out for most of it. It was just me wanting to play a game with her to bond, right?
Sure.
And so I was like hoping like, well, maybe Power World would be fun enough that I could play with her and have a game that we share because we've never had a game in common. So I bought her a copy and I'm like, you try it out. And if you like it and you're into it, then I'll pick it up too and we'll play together. So she actually hasn't put any time into it yet. She's been playing some other game, which I don't know the name of. I can't remember the name of it. But she's been grinding that. She's like, as soon as I finish this, I'll jump into that. So I'm like, okay, cool. So anyway, I don't know. If you're into Pokemon, I'm sure you already know about it. But it's crazy breaking records, man. So they said their servers went down. They had some issues today. They said they had 50,000 support tickets in like a couple minutes. So like their support ticket system was breaking as well. So it was pretty funny. Let's see. First question. By the way, if you guys want to submit questions to the podcast, Fluff and I both have channels in our Discords, Ask the New Meta. You can tweet them directly to me on Twitter, aka X. Or I guess in Discord, just drop them in the Discord. First question comes from Hex. He says, do you think WSAD is going to be game changing? And do you think PoE 2 will be forced to use it now? Well, PoE 2 announced it first.
Yeah.
So I think players are going to be forced to use it if they want to be the most efficient possible. I think it's just going to be a thing. If you want to be the best player ever, you're probably going to use WSAD. So
I hope that's not true, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Unless it sucks. I mean, if their implementation of it sucks somehow, then maybe not. But
yeah.
Having the ability to run backwards and cast the opposite direction, though, it's like silly. Dirt Nap says, "Are you going to play Last Epoch?" We talked about that. You are for sure.
Yep.
I think I said right. I probably am. We'll see. Mine's dependent on D4 and something else comes out at the same. Oh, a game you're gonna love, the Final Fantasy VII
Oh my god.
remake, episode 2 or whatever, the second version, the second disc, whatever it is, that drops, I think, the same week as last Epoch. I'm 100% playing that. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Moon said, do you feel video game launches announcements are less exciting now? He didn't get, that was like his whole question. He didn't give a lot of context as to less exciting versus what, 5 years ago when we were kids. But yeah, I do feel that way a little bit. And I don't know. I've been burning out lately.
Yeah.
I haven't been playing as much games. No, I'm saying, well, yeah, I'm saying in general though. Like there's been many evenings in the last month where it's like, there's nothing I want to play. I'm bored. I don't know what to go do. Right.
Okay.
And I that's historically not me. Like I'm always like wanting to play something, whether it's whatever game it might be. I'm always like, oh, there's this game and I want to play it. And I haven't been feeling that way lately. So I don't know if it's I'm getting too old. I don't know what the deal is, but I definitely depression from what? I'm not depressed. I'm in a good mood, man.
Dude.
I don't know, man. So I don't know. So yeah, I do feel like they're a little less exciting than they used to be.
Okay.
What do you think?
I don't know. I guess anytime I see a new PoE trailer, I get pretty hyped. I'm super hyped. I mean, PoE has become, probably my favorite game of all time. And so the idea of a sequel has me super hyped, but
yeah,
I'm very specific on obviously what I like.
I've tried a lot of new stuff that hasn't got me hooked. Like I tried the new Spider-Man game.
Okay.
I thought the first one was fantastic. So I shelled out the $70 and bought Spider-Man 2. I played it for like 12 hours and I was like, Like I didn't finish it. Didn't think it was that good. I bought Christmas break. I bought Jedi Survivor, which is the sequel to the Jedi Fallen Order game. It was like on super sale. And I was like, well, I like Jedi Fallen Order quite a bit. I almost bought Survivor at launch.
Okay.
But I bought it cheap. I beat it. I played through the whole thing. But it was like, I don't know. It just didn't. There was no part of me that was like, I can't wait to play this. I can't wait to finish it. It was like, was it fun? Yeah, I didn't have a bad time while I was playing it, but I wasn't thinking about the game when I wasn't playing it, or I didn't have an urge to be like, man, can't wait to get this work done so I can go play Jedi Survivor. It just didn't have that kick. I don't know. The last game that I remember being absolutely ridiculously fantastic was the Cyberpunk DLC. And so I actually started a new playthrough of Cyberpunk not too long ago because I played through the vanilla campaign 4 years ago when it launched and it was broken. But Cyberpunk 2.0 and that new DLC are absolutely fantastic. Like if the game would have launched in this state, it's like top 3 video game all time.
Wow.
So it's fantastic. Pick it up if you haven't. But yeah, I do. I agree. I don't know what games. I think it's the games. Like so Diablo 4 was the hype game forever for us, at least for me. And now that it's out, Jacob,
okay.
I don't know how to say the rest of it. Jacob something says, is there a lyric that you always sing out loud?
A lyric?
A lyric from a song. I got one stuck in my head for the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Can't get rid of it. It's the stupid Seven Nation Army or whatever by, is it White Stripes? The dun 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 dun. Because they sing that shit, they hum it at games, at stadium events. And I've been watching football the last couple of weeks because it's playoffs. And so you hear the crowd go, oh, and they do it at every single game and you'll hear it. And so now, like for the last 2 weeks, just in my brain, like all the time, I'm like walking through the house, dun, 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 just humming it.
Okay. I do get songs stuck in my head pretty hard, but I don't know. There's like anything that I would hear and just be like, I have to belt this out.
Nothing.
Nothing
Okay.
comes to mind anyways.
Majestic Wind says, "What's the most awkward thing you could say to a stranger in an elevator?" I can think of. Well, it depends on how creepy you want to get, right? Like, let's just say like realistic strange. I'd just be like, "Ooh, silent but deadly." Like that's all it would take, right? Silent but deadly, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, that'd be weird. Gosh. I have no idea. Like on the spot, what's the weirdest thing you could say?
I wonder if they have cameras in here. Like, I mean, you could just say, like, like there's so many things that you could say that would just freak somebody out. Just be like, I bet if you screamed, nobody would hear you.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, there's like you could just go completely Hannibal.
Yeah, wow.
No, it's just like it's just easy. Like,
God damn.
Maybe I'm just a psychopath underneath, and I don't realize it.
Probably accurate.
So, you got nothing? What are you over there distracted with, sir?
I'm putting my build together for tomorrow as we're going.
Oh, okay. All right, let's get through these last couple questions so you can hurry up with your build. Your inner voice says, "You've been granted the wish to be 18 again. Do you become 18 now in 2024, or do you go back to the year you were actually 18?
Well, back, because like you have knowledge.
Okay.
Right?
Well, you get 18 more years of future experiences.
Well, you get to relive the last X amount of years of your life. For you, it's like 50. For me,
okay. So listen. Let's say if you were 18 right now, then you would get to live to like 2060, 2070, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now we're not going to hit.
I'd rather go back because you have all that knowledge. You'd be like, "Ooh, I can invest. I can do this and this and this."
Invest in Apple, invest in Tesla, invest in Microsoft.
Repeat some of the mistakes you think you made in life, maybe.
What would that do, though?
Change your life.
Let's say you went back and you didn't date that girl, right?
Yeah.
You were like, well, no, I'm not going to the gym and meeting.
Oh, there'd definitely be girls I would skip this time around for sure.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. So then what would you, maybe you'd have a kid right now.
No, because I'm not gonna go back and make mistakes.
Maybe you'd skip that girl, and then next girl lies to you, and then you got a baby. No,
but I'm me still. Like I gotta go back, or I just say like, poof, hit the button, and I'm the same fucking idiot I was when I was 18 years old.
No. You got your current knowledge.
Yeah,
you got your current knowledge. I'm just saying, like, something could happen. You could meet. You're like, I'm not. Listen, that one's crazy. I'm not messing with her. And then the next week you get into a car accident because you're supposed to be at her house, but you weren't. You were driving to another girl's house and you did. Gone.
Okay, I take that gamble. I take it. But the same thing can be said for like being 18 now. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, good. But yeah, it's right.
Yeah, definitely go back.
Okay.
Definitely go back.
Okay. All right. Clay Carey says, "What's the dumbest way you ever hurt yourself?" I actually this is a very timely question because I have a huge scratch on my neck that I did myself.
One could argue it was pretty stupid of me. No, I can't see it. What?
I woke up this morning and I had a stiff neck and I'm in the shower, right?
Okay.
And I have like shampoo in my hair, but I'm like rubbing my neck like because I woke up with a stiff neck and my hand slipped because like it's the soap, but I was pressing hard, so my fingernails just like scratched the crap out of my neck, like horribly. I'm like, okay, that was smart. Good job, me. I don't know.
Interesting.
That's my dumb way of injuring myself. That's one of them.
I hate that. That should be a fluff page too. Like when you wake up in the morning and you're like, damn it, I slept wrong.
Yep.
And I'm turning like Batman because I fucking can't turn my head. I hate that so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I bought a lot of pillows. Like, I have a lot of pillows. I cycle through trying to find the right pillow. I'm like, man, I don't want this stiff neck.
Dude. I guess the dumbest way, one could argue the dumbest way I ever injured myself was, I had surgery and then I got on a motorcycle like the day after and got hit by a car. But that was wrong place, wrong time. It had nothing to do with the fact that I was in a cab.
That wasn't like you being dumb, though, right?
Yeah. But so you could argue, like, why? Well, you put yourself in the situation.
You shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it, right? Where'd I put the questions? I think that was it. Yep, that's all we got.
Easy
mode. All right. Well, we'll see you guys in Sanctuary.
Will we?
Tomorrow.
Will we see you in Sanctuary?
I'll see you in Sanctuary. I might be on Overwatch or something, but I'll see you on Sanctuary.
Oh my God, you'll see me.
Listen, man, they broke Overwatch too. Like, I'm pissed off a little bit at Blizzard right now. Like, they, WoW's not in the best spot. It's okay. Like, there's hope for the new expansion, but let's be real. This expansion kind of sucked. D4 didn't launch in the best of states, and Overwatch 2 is kind of a joke. Like, I want Overwatch 1 back, if I'm being honest. Like, Overwatch 1 was a better game. And it's but they had this latest patch. They added that new character we saw at BlizzCon, Waga, or however you say his name.
Yeah.
They launched him in the most OP broken state you could possibly imagine. So they launched the character, 2 weeks worth of feedback of like, this guy's broken, and they go ahead and just throw him in comp. And so now you have this character that's mandatory in comp. Like, if your tank doesn't play him, it's a loss, guaranteed. So yeah, it's ridiculous. And he's sitting there just dunking on everybody. And like, you can counter him in ways, but he's just so broken. So then the mid-season patch hits and they nerf him down and they tweak some other things, but the game's just in a really bad spot. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on over at Blizz HQ, but I don't feel like any of their franchises are in the best of places at the moment. So
I don't know.
See.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
If you guys want to catch more of me, you can catch me on the Twitters at ThaPChild.
We're on
the
World
Discord.
of Warcraft. What's your character name?
PChild. Actually, my monk's name is Viper, I'm being honest.
Viper.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought it was clever when I made him 15 years ago. Okay.
Hopefully you actually play and we can do a follow-up, like what we think of the season. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to play some WSAD now. It could be 10 minutes or it could be yeah, they had a whole thing on the stream. Is it WASD? I'm like, it's WSAD.
That's WASD, dude.
You say WASD?
Yeah.
Oh, WSAD. So,
all right.
You probably say GIFs too, don't you?
Yeah.
No, you don't. I'm quitting the podcast if you say GIFs.
Cool.
All right. Bye.
Bye.